Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm doing okay for the most part. Hey, you gotta. Welcome back to this great world. Nice haircut. Yeah, I remember on my last stream I was like, my hair's getting kind of long. So I got it trimmed a bit. Yeah. Just waiting for a couple more people. Wait, I gotta put the subscribers only mode. There you go. Subscribers only mode. So I don't have any trolls on here. But yeah, it's been exactly 1 year of Life Outrage. Yeah, January 15 is the day last year when I posted my first video called I Was Not Made for This Life. And honestly, I'm not even. I'm still surprised at the growth of this channel. I didn't expect it. But been here since the beginning. This channel has come so far. It really has. You know, one reflection I've been having this morning is how, you know, I still have the same thoughts as I had in that first video of mine. It's just like, you know, when I recorded that first video, it was I was like in a different place internally, and yeah, I had just quit my job, so it was I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was applying to many jobs, and I was like, oh, my life is over, and I was very angry at the system, very much so, about everything, and that's why I came that first video. But yeah, yeah, the progress you made while overcoming what you went through is amazing. Thanks. It's just like, yeah, I mean, I still think the system sucks. Obviously, it's it still sucks. It's such bullshit. Obviously, um, I guess I guess right now it's just like, well, it's more integrated in a sense. I don't know, um, but yeah, we'll see what other types of videos I do this year. At first, I thought you were AI because of the awareness. Not used to seeing that from the Asian culture. No, that's true. That's true. I mean, is there even another Asian like person on YouTube talking about this stuff? I don't think so. Not that I know of. I remember at the end of January, Tragic Reality, he gave me a shout out on his channel, and that kind of gave me like a boost of in terms of like viewers. And I remember being kind of surprised because I was already watching Tragic Reality. I was already watching all of his videos, and to see that he gave me like a shout out, he shared my video on his page. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, he's the one that I've been watching. He's the one that inspired me with this, and he's sharing my video. So that was really cool, actually. Yeah, I remember. It's getting harder to distinguish what's real and what isn't with AI being abused. I'm a firm believer in using it sparingly and with accountability. Yeah, I think so too. Yo, snowfall is crazy today. Did you get a good workout? No, I didn't work out. No, not today. But we did get some snow, so yeah. I'm honestly tired of it. Honestly, it's the snow is fucking annoying. I can't even look at it with a straight with a straight face anymore. I'm just like fucking done. I'm having to get up at 7:30 and force myself out of bed to get digital numbers. It sucks. Man, I feel the pain. I really feel the pain, man. Because I've been there too. It's like that feeling of I don't know. It's just like this feeling of like you're just so fucking done. It's like why are we dragging ourselves in the morning early, getting out of bed when we should just be resting, you know. But I don't know, we have to get digital numbers in order to survive. It's fucking messed up, honestly. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Wow, 5 years. uh, where do I see myself? I see myself in 5 years having some form of, you know, financial independence. Hopefully, I mean, I know the goal is to want to make money online, so I don't have to rely on a regular job, having to commute and all that shit. But even though I know it's hard and it's not easy, I'm still trying to find a way to to do that, to make a living off of that, and that's one way to escape the system. It's by doing something online so that you have mobility, so you can move places, go wherever you want, rather than having to be stuck at one fucking job, one fucking like place all the time, which is, tiring. It's annoying. Having to wake up every morning to get to a place every day, clocking in, clocking out. It's just like fuck that. I discovered you shortly after watching Tragic Reality. Both of you are my favorite to watch. I'm glad you like our videos. Do you like Turtleneck because of the dramas? No, I don't watch dramas. Congrats on 1 year. I promise I'll keep watching. Peace. Thank you, thank you. Are you an anti-natalist? No, I wouldn't consider myself an anti-natalist. Um, but would I still have children in a world like this? No, but that still does not make me an anti-natalist because when you think about it, anti-natalist is very specific. It's saying that reproduction is wrong, having children is wrong. It's like kind of like more extreme, and sometimes it goes even more extreme to the point where people will shame parents for having children, and I'm not that guy. I'm not going to look at other parents and be like, you're wrong, you did something wrong in this world, even though I can see the problem that the more people have kids, the more it becomes more of a business, and it's all about digital numbers and the kid growing up to pay bills and things. But yes, that is the reason why I will not have children of my own. But I still would not reject adoption. Adoption is still something. It would be the best thing to do if you want to have a family, raise children, um, in this system at this point, because there's already so many children that need help in this world. So why not help these people? Rather than having to pump out new kids and you know, and watch those new kids like grow up and having to pay bills, pay rent, go get a job one day, choose a career and all that. I cannot watch my child grow up like that. No, so that's why I'm not having kids. But that still this doesn't mean that I'm anti-natalist. You know, after that 20-minute mark is up, then a bunch of trolls will probably flood in. I mean, so far it's been a kind of working, because I don't know. I feel like I don't know if a troll would actually wait 20 minutes. Plus, they would have to subscribe, so they have to make an extra effort, you know. And then what you get? They're gonna unsubscribe right after. Here in the UK, we're mostly just getting ice and nothing too bad, thank God. Yeah, that's good. Hey, Outrage. Hello. Hardest part of life is the second you think things might work out, that's when everything falls apart. It's happened to me a million times and I'm reminded each time. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think the way I'm thinking now is more like I'm not going to think, oh, everything's going to work out fine, perfectly. It's going to go the way I want perfectly. No, but I still am hoping for things. I still want to do something in this life, and I'm hoping to do them. Will I get there perfectly? No, obviously not. But um, I guess that's my perspective now. Zarif is another Asian YouTuber with similar content. Yes, he does. I've seen his videos. I don't think he posts anymore, right? Yeah, I don't think he's active anymore. For now, at least. I think he's taking a break. I don't know. How old are you? I'm 26. I get a bit depressed because of how wicked and corrupt the system is, and we have no choice but to be subjected to it. Yeah, that is a thought that crosses my mind many times. It's like I still want to do something in this life. I still, you know, am hoping to do things that I want to do, pursue my passions. But then there's that thought in my head, like, oh shit, it requires digital numbers in order to move forward, in order to do those things, and it's just it kind of makes me feel almost hopeless in a way, you know. I mean, that's the thing. I still look forward to things, but there's still that side of me that's kind of hopeless because everything is just run on digital fucking numbers. You know, that's the that's the most heartbreaking part about it. You know, we just we're just human beings wanting to do things that we enjoy, and then the system comes crashing down on us, and it just strips away of our humanity, and it's just fucking sad. You know, so I totally get you. You will be under YouTube's thumb, a woke boss. What? Do you believe in a higher power? Uh, I mean, part of me a little bit, but not like I have a definitive answer of what that higher power is, but I feel like there is something, at play here. It's like it's not something that you can explain. There's no logic behind it, but I feel like there is some form of higher power uh, that's not definable. Definable? Is that a word? I'm never having kids because the way the world's going, it seems more hard to raise your own offspring. That's true. Have you seen any good content creation ideas that you wouldn't do but you could recommend to others? Content creation ideas? Like, I don't know. Like what to do on YouTube, what to do on social media and things? I don't know. That you wouldn't do but you would recommend to others. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not having kids for the same reason. Do you live alone? No, I don't. Will you ever visit Vietnam one day? Technically, I already have when I was younger, when I was like 12 years old, but now with this awareness, I kind of am looking forward to going back even more. And this is mainly because of the way of life in Vietnam and just any Southeast Asian country. First of all, the cost of living is much lower, and you know when you look at videos about Vietnam, it's definitely a different way of life. People, it's not career oriented. It's more, I don't know, communal, and I think that's what's missing in these Western countries. So um, I definitely recommend you guys to check out like videos about what it's like, living in Southeast Asia or anything, or any country with a low cost of living, um, because it really will change some perspective, at least. At least it will give you that sort of like, oh, maybe like there is like a possibility to be happy in this life, or to find freedom. Will it be easy? No. But I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but that is kind of where I'm kind of headed towards, in a way. And another thing I want to say, I don't want to. I'm not romanticizing living in a low country with a low cost of living, because, like I said, it's not something that's going to be easy. It's not something that's going to be perfect. You're still going to have to deal with the system and taxes, but it is already, I'm pretty sure, miles better than what we have here in the West. Like, if you're somebody who doesn't care about careers and status, you know, obviously being in a Western country is not for us. No, and if you just care about peace and freedom, and, well, it won't be completely freedom, but if you care about something more communal, something more real, something more authentic, then obviously there is another country out there for you that could fit your lifestyle. I'm pretty sure. I want a minimalist lifestyle since I'm not going to get married. I mean, you could still get a minimalist lifestyle if you were to get married. you know, it doesn't mean that once you get married, it's always about um, spending on materialist things, but depends who you marry with, too. I honestly don't see how I'm gonna survive being an adult. Yeah, I have those thoughts too. I'm like, damn, like, what will my life look like in like 10 years? Honestly, it kind of terrifies me to look forward like that. It's like, Jesus Christ, I can't. So in order to really ground myself, it's just to, focus on the now. Vietnam seems to have a more connected and loving community than the Western world. Yeah, absolutely. At this point right now, do you have a clear picture how you want your whole life to look like? How my life would look like. Um, Definitely would love to be in an environment where I feel inspired creatively, where I can just freely express myself, to do photography, to do videography, to do films. Um, and I feel like this, being in Canada right now, or anywhere in the Western country, it's not giving me that inspiration, because the system just drains our souls. It just drains us, and it's just not making us be our true selves. It's not making us inspired. And so, I was thinking hypothetically, yeah, if you go to another place, a place where you actually feel real, feel alive, feel like yourself, what if that will spark some creativity? That will, and I think that's what I want to do. You know. Then again, I'm not saying it will be easy, like I said, but it's gonna take some hard work, and you know how I feel about hard work. It fucking sucks. But yeah, time flies, doesn't it? Yeah. I wish life could be more connected with the internet. Sadly, it's not. Mm. Thinking about the future gives me anxiety. Yeah, that's. I've been kind of thinking about it even this morning actually when I woke up, thinking about what my life could look like, years from now. It terrifies me. It terrifies me. Um, it's better to just stay grounded and focus on now. You know, is there a film studio logo that scared you as a child? A film studio logo? Hmm. Not really. But there was one that was like, I think it's called THX. I don't know if you know about it, THX. But that kind of just, the sound that went like, you know, um, you guys probably know what I'm talking about, or maybe not. But yeah, that one is probably the creepiest one. Hi, what do you hate about working? There are so many things that I hate about working, but I think the number one thing I hate about working is you know, the social aspect of it, having to participate, having to talk. If you stay quiet, then you're the weird one, or if you stay quiet, then you're gonna be targeted. You're gonna be monitored. You're gonna be micromanaged. You know, you're gonna be analyzed more for mistakes and things because if you don't have the right energy, the right participation, the right personality, then you'll be outcasted in a way, you know. And I'm not saying that happens in every workplace, but that definitely happened at my last job. Working, just working was not enough. You have to be social, and that's what kind of fucked everything, and this is why corporate jobs. That's what's the draining aspect of it all. The corporate world and everything. Corporate people, all talking about money and digital numbers all the time. Oh, we made this amount of money this month. Yeah, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate with a pizza party, guys. Yeah, like fuck that. Seriously. Been watching your videos daily. Been getting so much out of them. Daily? Damn. I don't even have that many videos in a whole year. Unless you like rewatching some videos. I'm going to work until I save enough to retire. I don't want mansions or luxury cars. Yeah. I almost feel like even retirement is a scam, to be honest. Retirement is like, I don't know. It's like this thing that the system is making us kind of like look forward to. Oh, you have to work this much and one day you'll get to that point where you can retire and things. And it just feels like a trap, don't you think? It just doesn't feel, something about it feels off. It's like, oh, you need to work this amount of years and then you get to have freedom. It's just kind of messed up in a way. It doesn't give you that freedom, because retirement is tied to the system. It's tied to a rule. You don't get to choose. You don't have your own following in a sense. You don't get to follow what you want to do. You have to follow the rules in order to get to retirement. So I don't know. How do you guys speak in front of people, especially people you worry thinking would judge you? Um, I guess it comes with like not practice in a sense, but just more like sometimes you get to a point where you just don't care anymore. You've tried explaining countless times and you're not feeling understood, and at some point you're just like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, and whoever doesn't like want to listen or whoever doesn't understand me, well, fuck off. Seriously, fuck off. That's it. you know, um, whoever like wants to join me, you're welcome. But whoever doesn't understand me, fuck off. I don't got time for these people. The Columbia TriStar Home Entertainment logo from the early 2000s scared me as a kid. Yeah, I kind of get that. Yeah. I think the one, there was something kind of interesting with the TriStar one was the one with like the horse with wings, right? Yeah, it was definitely different than the Columbia lady thing. Us quiet folk are scrutinized for being real. Yeah. It's like that moment when everybody's like, "Oh, what did you do this weekend? What did you do this weekend?" And then you say like, "Oh, well, I just kind of like laid around and relaxed and bit." And then you'll be judged for saying that, because what they expect is for you to say, "Oh, I went to this 5-star restaurant. I went bungee jumping. I did all these activities. Yeah, 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 yeah. All this stuff." And what? So what? Did you come to work to fucking show off and all that shit? Come on, fuck that. And it just shows how fake people are. How many of these stories that they say when you ask them, what did you do this weekend, is real? What if they're actually lying just for the sake of to feel accepted, to feel validated in some way? That's why I don't like these office politics, office, things. You are such a deep thinker. You are fully aware of what's happening in your being and life outside of you. I'm glad you are still sane. Consciousness can be a curse sometimes. Yeah. Do you have a single person in real life with you can talk, just being truly yourself, just like here, bro? Um, Locally, no. Yeah. Wouldn't it be theoretically better if our currency system would be based on energy, information, and mass? Actually, yeah. I mean, I haven't really thought about it much, but it wouldn't be so bad. Like, why is our currency tied to the work that we do? How fucking dumb is that? Seriously. Do you still struggle to talk with your parents about how you feel about the system? They always say, listen to us, we have experience. My mom doesn't understand how I feel, so I stopped talking to her. No, I mean, I don't really struggle because I don't really try anymore. I mean, when I tried, like, especially a few times last year, it wasn't because I wanted to feel understood. It wasn't because I wanted recognition or to feel validated. I was just They kind of initiated the conversations when asking about, oh, you should apply for this job, you should apply for this, and then I ended up saying my perspective on things. Um, but I wasn't saying things to feel validated. I already knew that their answer was going to be the opposite of me. And it gave me a glimpse of how they feel about the system and what their perspective is, and it's just not aligned with who I am. So because I know that it's not aligned with who I am, and it's not just about parents or family, it can be like anybody else, friends, anybody, close friends and things. So, and the moment you feel like they don't have the same perspective, you stop trying. What's the point in trying? So just keep it to yourself, and it's just much feels much more easier that way at this point. If you own a business one day, how differently will you treat your employees? Thanks for being honest. Oh, if I had my own business, um, but here's the trap about owning a business is that sometimes we want to blame the boss because for treating us a certain way, and I'm not excusing my previous boss, for what he did, because he is an asshole. He's a dick, absolutely. But what I will say about other businesses in general and other bosses is that, um, sometimes the boss has to do certain things a certain way because they also feel the pressure. Sometimes the boss also feels some form of pressure because there's some weight on their shoulders. For example, the weight that we carry on our shoulders is the boss, but the boss also has weight on their shoulders. Um, so looking at it that way, you can kind of see that pressure can also affect the boss, and the boss will end up treating their employees a certain way because of that pressure. And does that mean that I'm excusing these people for treating us a certain way? No, it still sucks. It's still bad. But if we did live in a world where it was more peaceful, more harmony, well, if there was more peace and more harmony, we wouldn't have jobs. We wouldn't have bosses. We wouldn't have hierarchies and things. So, but hypothetically, if in this world I were to have my own business and I would treat my employees as human beings first. I would not treat them as, oh, you are an asset, you are a robot, you have to work so you can make money for our digital numbers for the company and all that. I would treat them as a human being. We should be human beings first in the first place. So, you know, might as well just do that. 1 year, huh? Yeah, 1 year. Do you think it's a good thing that many more people are having less children worldwide? Uh, because of the system, yeah. Um, but at the same time, we are very much already overpopulated. And when it comes to having more children, that means having to need more resources and raising the price of things and building more housing, building more cars. So it's kind of like it kind of like causing more work in a sense by having more children, you know. So we should like stop being like, oh well, I want to build a family and I'll just care about ourselves. Why not think about what's happening in the world? There's so many children out there that need our help. We can do adoption. If somebody wants to raise a family, adoption can be something you can do, rather than, oh, I just want another mini me. Congrats or something. If you're quiet, you're just smart. It's a gift, really. If you're quiet, people judge you. That's true. And it's like that saying. People are like, "Oh, you're so quiet. Why don't you talk much? Why don't you talk much?" Fuck you, honestly. Introverts have a very rich inner world. Yeah. People think you're a weirdo. Well, who cares what people think? They like putting masks and playing roles for the plot. We are naked and real. They can't accept that. Yeah. I am an introvert. Sup, I appreciate everything you do. I'm seriously struggling to cope, enjoy anything anymore. Being alive feels like torture. Can you relate at all? Absolutely. Can definitely relate. Sometimes just the thought of like feeling like everything, our whole lives depend on these digital numbers, these pieces of paper, and I just feel discouraged, honestly. Um, I'm still hoping. I still want to do something with this life. I still have things I want to do. I want to pursue my creative passions and things, but the system kind of just ruins it. It ruins it for all of us. We can't even be real. We can't even be our true selves. I want to express my creativity, my artistic, expression and things, and the system is kind of just making it harder for us to be our true selves in a way, and that's kind of like, it's the saddest part about all this. And it's like, when you think about like adults right now who are in their 50s or 60s or whatever, they've been working for so many years, and think about all the passions they put aside just for because of work. And I'm not judging these people. It's more like this system forces people to push away their their true selves, push away their creativity, and it's sad. You know, we earned 100,000 profit this month. Let's celebrate with pizza. Yeah, great. Really changes my life. No, it doesn't. That's the thing. It's just sickening that in the workplace, in these corporate cultures, you celebrate things with fucking pizza. And I still remember those days when I would refuse to eat pizza. And again, this is part of participation and all this crap. And if you don't participate, then you're going to be treated differently. You're going to be treated as the weird one. So just because I didn't eat pizza, I was judged for it. Just fucking stupid, honestly. I think the boss is rarely competent in a job setting. That's kind of true, actually. Sometimes, at least my previous bosses, they're the ones that most of the time they're not as competent as the actual workers there. Sometimes the boss is usually the one that's kind of lost and saying, "Oh, you should do this," and then the workers are the ones explaining him about things, so about how things work. Hi from India. Hello, hello. Have you ever seen Idiocracy? If you've seen it in regard to having kids, you'll know what I'm talking about. Um, no, actually, I haven't seen that. Let me check what that is. Oh, it's a movie. No, I have not seen it. No. I thought Idiocracy was like an ideology or something, but no, it's a movie. Do you think you will make a video on grade school or college someday? Uh, I mean, I did make a video about school a while ago. I mean, I definitely could talk more about school itself. I mean, I definitely don't think I've discussed everything about school. Um, but the thing is that my time at school is over. It's been done for a long time now. So it's been years. The last time I was in school was in 2019. So it's been a while. Um, oh, I just got a donation. Oh, hello, Dad Mode and Dark Mode. What's up? Thanks for the donation. I'm introverted and I prefer to be around introverted people. Extrovert people can be good in a small way, like taking the lead, but they can be exhausting. Absolutely. Uh, I can't. A lot of times people say introverted people cannot mesh well with other introverts because nobody's going to talk. But I kind of feel like it's not true. I think that there's a misconception with the whole like, oh, an introvert can only get along with an extrovert because the extrovert can like open them up and things. But for me personally, I kind of get tired around extroverts. I'm kind of just like, I don't like this energy. I don't like. I just want to be. I appreciate quiet, um, stillness. If you can sit with a person and be more calming and relaxing, I think there's something great about that. It shouldn't be shamed or anything. you know, but that's just me. F insomnia. What? Dude, I like small talk, but I kind of hate big talks, or maybe I just hate talk. Yeah. Sometimes you can have great big talks with the right person. Um, if somebody's on the same wavelength, definitely can help. Yeah. But to do small talk with people you're not fully aligned with, nah, bro. I hate that. There will always be challenge, pain, suffering, accidents, wars. That's true. That's true. I wish there wasn't war. I wish war could have been something that we could, find a way to reduce, but apparently humans suck. Humanity sucks, and we kind of just, we this is something we even profit off of too. It's kind of sickening. You have to work for many years to be able to travel more often. We are just cogs in the system, productivity machines. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I, I want to travel. I definitely want to explore this world, and I kind of feel like as humans, that's what we were meant to do. I mean, think about the time before systems. Somebody could just, you know, say, "Hey, I want to go to this place," and a person could just walk from one place to another. A person can just go from here to there. And it didn't cost money. but we've decided to just kind of like monetize everything, monetize transportation, monetize all of this and that. Or in order to get to this place, you have to pay this amount of money. But our inner compass, as humans, we're never meant to stay in one place. We were never meant to live in one house for the rest of our lives. But the system makes us want to stay in a house for the rest of our lives, to have the same job, to stick to that same job so that you can pay your bills, pay your mortgage, pay your rent for as long as possible. The system wants that. But no, we were meant to just, explore, go to different places. We were not meant to just stick to one place. The system is forcing us to stick to one place. The more you realize that, it's just fucking insanity. And that's why it feels unnatural to go to a job for an entire, like, for decades, even doing the exact same thing, the same task all the time. It's unnatural. And it makes people go insane, you know. And people go insane, but most of the time they kind of suppress those emotions because in order to keep going in life, they have to suppress it. And that's the sad part. That's the part that's fucked up. You know, we live in a world where we're supposed to suppress how we feel. We're supposed to suppress the insanity. And we shouldn't. We have to call this shit out. Seriously. So Dad Mode and Dark Mode says, life truly begins once you integrate your shadow. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. Is that a quote from something? Have you watched Clockwork Orange movie? I have not actually. I heard it's a classic, right? What do you think about the Cower thesis? It's similar to believing it into things and makes it more likely to become real eventually to some degree or the other. No, I don't. I don't know. I'm not into like these things where, oh, I'm gonna try to believe that this will happen and then it'll magically happen for me. No, I'm not. I'm not into that. Can't stand small talk. Forced interaction is cringe. Actually, what do you think of college or grade school today? Uh, the thing about college and university and all this crap, I feel like it's just another business. It's another way for people to make money. Think about all these student debts. Some people can't even pay off their student debt well into their 40s, well into their 50s. What kind of bullshit is that? So going to school just feels like a scam. Not only that, I remember the times when, you know, um, on the first day, and you'd have to go get your books, but these are not books provided by to for example, back in high school and elementary school, you know, they would lend you the books, you know, but apparently in college and university you have to pay for your books. It's like, well, why? Like, why not reuse a book? Why waste amounts of not only your own money but amounts of paper to production for people to keep buying these books for the same class all the time? So it's just another way to make money in the end. And then what? Once you graduate and get your diploma, your degree, a lot of the times these days people are stuck without finding anything, without finding a job, because because of our amazing job market right now. you know, so it's fucking ridiculous. Is 17 too old to be making mistakes? No, no. I mean, we everybody's going to make mistakes. People in their 30s, 40s, 50s still gonna make some mistakes. So yeah, don't shame yourself for making a mistake at 17. I mean, if you want to know what mistake I did at 17 was, what um, I mean, I remember learning to drive at 17, and I made a bunch of mistakes. So um, there's that. And I remember feeling very sad about it too, about driving, and how hard it was at the time, and I don't know. That was a feels like a lifetime ago. Extroverts say so much, but in the end, they just forget what they said afterwards. Yeah, that's true. Not a hate comment. If you're able to live in a house with enough food to live comfortably without having to work a job, then aren't you where you want to be? I mean, technically, yeah. Oh, like you're talking about like my position in life right now because I live with my parents. Oh, okay. Um, I mean, but that's the thing because I'm not just you can't just say that I like everything is perfect for me because the system is still going to creep in on me. I'm still paying bills, my some of my bills. I'm still paying things, and um, and there's also this societal pressure. Oh, you have to get a job, you have to get this, but there's also this place where I'm at where it's like, I'm trying to find something to do. I'm trying to find a way to, make digital numbers online and somehow find a way to, find some form of freedom for myself. I mean, so, and it's not easy. It's hard, but that is the thing. The system is still at play. The system is still out there. Some people out there are still homeless. And I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I'm well off, whatever. I'm not like that. I care about what other people are going through. And I also care, and there's also this part of me where there will come a day when I have to find a way to financially sustain myself, you know? And it sucks that I have to do that, but that's how the world works, unfortunately. I fucking hate it, but eventually I'm gonna have to be in that place where, you know, I'm gonna have to be able to financially sustain myself. So it's bullshit either way. We never asked to be born here in this corrupt system. Yeah. Having insight is like Uncle Ben's famous words to Spider Man with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, you can say that. Yeah. It's like I have this awareness and, I have to treat it with responsibility in a way. Like I have to build a life around it in a way. I think that's kind of what links it with. If life is so bad in Canada, I can't even imagine how horrible it must be in other countries. I mean, it depends on how you look at it because for some people, they're in a Western country and it's like, oh, it's way better. Like, for example, like immigrants, they come from a country that was, let's say, more poor in a sense, and then they come here and it's like, oh, this is way better. Like, this is way better already. But some people kind of like, I don't know, they kind of just see like career and status as something to look up to, but for people like me, I don't look up to things like career and status, so I don't really care about that shit. So I would just be happy to be in a place where none of that shit matters, because there are countries where all of those things don't matter as much. I wake up and can't get out of bed most days because of the system and how the world works. Depresses me. Can you relate? Yeah, I mean, especially these days, it's been actually pretty hard for me to get up from bed for on most days because, and I think a lot of it has to do with the winter as well. I just fucking hate the snow right now. I think one thing that I'm most affected right now is actually the season, the winter season, which is, yeah, it's fucking bullshit. At this point, I'm just enjoying the mass psychosis we're in. That's why there are so many people with depression, chronic anxiety, and cardiovascular disease. Bro, did you go to college? I regret going there so bad, still unemployed. Yes, I did go to college, yeah. And I kind of wish I never got into college. I don't know. It's just feels like such a waste of time. You know, all the money spent on it as well. And I don't know. And the fact that, you know, where I want to go in life now will not require any college or university. Like I'm trying to build something of my own that doesn't even require school. So because my goal is just to find a way to make digital numbers. I wish I didn't have to make digital numbers for survival, but I kind of fucking have to. And so it would be kind of much better if at the time that I was in college to just go straight into finding ways to make money, you know, rather than spending all this time studying and shit because it's just fucking pointless. As much as I want to not wake up in my bed someday, I know death has its own consequences and legacy that sucks and is terrifying. Yeah, absolutely. The job market is getting worse every year, and that really bothers me. Yep, absolutely. Once you are aware, there is no going back. Right now, it's like life is just temporary breaks of not being miserable and then back to the same shit. Like, holy. And it's isolating because it feels like no one else is perceiving the world like it. Hey, man, you're not alone. No, we're all here dealing with the same shit. And, you know, you're not alone, man. Do you think modern studio logos are too obsessed with attention to detail? The Disney logo for the 100th celebration comes to mind as a recent example. Yeah, in a way, yeah. But I mean, it's not like something I'm concerned about, but great to catch another live. Welcome back. Welcome back. You should get a 10,000 lux lamp and use it every morning and help me too because there's no bright daylight currently where I am. Huh, really? It's kind of weird how much influence small things like the seasons, sun, solar flares, similar stuff affects our brain. It's like we are biologically robots, technically. Yeah, it's crazy when you think about it. And then, you know, if we live in a different place that has more sunshine or has more heat, less cold, you can be a totally different person. It's you know, it's weird how it works. It's all about how we work together as one. Yeah, and he said he's most affected by the winter. Imagine if everything we hated to do was removed from our lives. Would that necessarily promote laziness? Um, well, well, that's the thing. I don't think if we didn't have to like produce and be productive and all that, then you know we'd probably like kind of appreciate more time to rest and relax. You know, it wouldn't be something to be shamed about. You know, somebody can just go follow their passions, do their hobbies, and not be shamed for it. You know, and not be called lazy for not go back to work and shit. You know? Like fuck you. Have there been moments in work you enjoyed? uh, Actually, there was only one job where I actually enjoyed work, and it was like a retail job. And I know for some people, like retail is hell, but I was actually lucky enough to have a good experience at retail because, first of all, a lot of the managers were my age, so we kind of just bonded through that, and we kind of just there was less of some sort of like or there was less of a hierarchy in a way, and it was a job where a lot of people were my age as well, all the coworkers as well. You know, we were all the same age, so we there was a lot of respect because of that, and there was even one manager who was, you know, much older, who was also very nice. So I almost hit the jackpot in that job. Um, so yeah. The only downside is that a lot of people just leave and they quit and they go on to do other things. But that's retail for you. You know, people just come and go, and it's kind of sad. And that's kind of why I ended up not staying at that job, and I ended up going to an office job, to a career job, and to have more money, to have more pay, to be more responsible, to be more of an adult. You know, was that all worth it? Absolutely not. But then, if you think about it, if I never like shifted to a career job, Life Outrage would have never been born. And yeah. I have always lived in the cold, dark, depressing place in Wisconsin, Wyoming, and Washington. Yeah. Are your parents aware that the cost of living is much higher now than before and life is much harder to afford for the younger generation? This is a question I have not asked specifically yet, so I'm curious to know what they would think of this, actually. If you like your job or jobs, that's a major plus, but if the money means nothing, but the money means nothing at the end of the day. Yeah. Introverts like me are accusedly wired for connection too, if you think about it. I mean, yeah, I mean, being an introvert is not about being antisocial. Being introvert is just like, you know, I don't know, you just want to reduce that. You don't want to be around like things with so much noise in a way. You just want something more calm and yeah. Technically, the vast majority of human history were outside way more than today, so of course we feel the effects of being indoors most of our days. Winter sucks, but hey, spring is almost here. Yeah, I will say spring is a very nice feeling. I wish spring was a season that lasted longer. It has that feeling of, I don't know, of reconnection of something, a little spark. I don't know. There's something very nostalgic about spring that I like. I think if you have an outdoor job with a good group of people, you'll enjoy it. That's the kind of work I do personally. It feels good. I also suffered a lot from winter here in Germany, and going to a vacation a few weeks ago, it was really powerful how the sun just made you feel so good, but now using a 10,000 lux lamp, I'm okay too. Yeah, that's the thing about winter is that there's barely sun. You know, we're literally around clouds and snow for majority of the time. It's sad. Winter is always the hardest time of the year, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Absolutely, and I can feel it already when it's hard for me to get out of bed most mornings. Yeah, spring is awesome. You get to see the rebirth of Earth, and it's not hot or too cold, but spring is too short. Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly that feeling. There's some sort of rebirth, in a sense. There's some like something feels alive again, whereas winter everything just feels so dead and soulless and yeah. It's best and most healthy to live down by the equator. Yeah. Where's everybody from, by the way? I'm curious. Would time and financial freedom give you more fulfillment in life, or you need deeper sense of fulfillment like peace, compassion, seeing people living one another, less suffering? I think it's all of it actually. Like I care about um, time and financial freedom, but also the peace of the world and the state that this earth is in right now, the cost of living for everybody. I don't really care just about my own circumstances. I care about the circumstances of everybody. You know, Sweden, hello, Germany, Mauritius, but I came to Canada for studies. Where are you in Canada? I live in Washington, Spanaway, Rocky Ridge, 39 miles to Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier is beautiful. I've seen photos of it before. My parents or most of my family's from Vietnam, but I was born in the U.S. natively. Yeah, same here. Like, I have my family's Vietnamese, but I'm born in Canada. So. Iowa, U.S. Hello. I'm part Irish, part Portuguese, Swedish personally. Oh wow, interesting. It's a very unique combination there. Um, I studied in Ontario, but now live in Montreal. Do you know about Mauritius? Yes, I know about Mauritius. It's a it's a beautiful country. Yeah, it's a very beautiful country actually. Yeah. Working out while watching this. Oh, that's awesome. What kind of workouts do you do? Would you say you're currently where you want to be because you live in a house with enough food but without having to work a job? No, not necessarily. No, I wouldn't say where I want to be because I still need to find a way to sustain myself financially. Yes, I still live with my parents. I still live in a family home, but I still want to find a way to make digital numbers so I can like find a way to be in a place where there's a low cost of living. I don't want to build a life here in Canada. I don't want to like grow up and grow old and work a 9 to 5 job and stay in Canada for the rest of my life. No, I don't see myself in that position. So yeah, I go for walks every day. I do a lot of protein. It keeps me in shape. Which city of Quebec do you live in, and how do you find it? Um, I don't know if I want to reveal my actual city, but yeah, I live somewhere in Quebec. Yeah. Is there anything you're interested in, like job wise, not in a traditional sense? Um, like a specific job? I don't know. It's hard for me to be interested in a specific thing because I already hate work already in the first place. So um, I don't know. It's a hard question too. Pilates, squats, leg lifting, all this for 1 minute each. I repeat 10 times. Nice. You know, I mean, I would work out a lot more last year, but I haven't done it much so far when the year started in 2026. Um, I guess a lot of it comes down to, I don't know. I just kind of find workouts to be a bit repetitive for me, and I mean, imagine if we lived in a world, well, not live in a world, but we lived in an environment where you were able to do exercise by exploring and being out there in places, do all these activities. You know, wouldn't it be great to get your workout through those things? But unfortunately, we live in a world where to do those activities, it requires money. But then again, it still requires digital numbers to go to the gym and work out. Or if you want to have your own private gym at home, it still requires digital numbers. So it's like, I don't know. I guess in a way, I prefer to be out there doing stuff for exercise rather than just be stuck in a gym or being stuck in a home doing exercise there. You know, we're kind of just stuck in a room with four walls doing exercise, but I'd rather just do exercise when it's like, you know, where I have like more freedom rather than being trapped in a room, you know. Where would you like to live if you had enough money? Uh, I mean, I've definitely been thinking about, you know, Southeast Asia, definitely, um, because of the low cost of living there. So, yeah. What are your thoughts on cryptocurrency? Is it really the fastest way to financial freedom? Um, I don't really have any thoughts. I haven't really looked up crypto that much. I don't know, honestly. I don't really have any opinions. I haven't really done much um, research on it, to be honest. I do powerlifting, lifting, calisthenics, stretching, trampoline flips, gymnastics, and running. I do a lot of it, keeps me well balanced. That's cool. To be fair, I think numbers like for measuring weight, health, blood pressure can be useful, but ultimately there is still a curse on. Do you struggle with the boring routine of everyday life, like workout, groceries, cook food? Yeah, I mean that's the thing. When when we're always in staying in one place, in one city, one job, we just do the same things constantly. And for most people, that's like just life on autopilot. There's no other option than that. But you know, the natural thing to do is to do something different, to explore places, to be in a different area, you know. But unfortunately, the system requires you to have enough digital numbers in order to do that. So it's just fucking annoying. Have you tried online trading? No, I have not. What's online trading? Oh, it's like stocks and things. No, never tried this, but it hurts though. I don't have a gym. I'm working out in my room with no equipment. I also deleted Instagram 2 years ago because I felt bad about myself and compared myself too much. Yeah, I totally get that. Sometimes we just have to do what we have to do in order to stop like comparing ourselves, and deleting social media is the first option. I've been kind of lucky enough to not give a shit about social media, even though I'm still on it. Sometimes I get that, and I stopped getting the feeling of jealousy in a way, of envy. It's just more like I'm just watching things, and a lot of the times I'm kind of aware that what we see is fake too. Like, what if somebody is just posing, showing off, or just showing the highlights, but not really the real stuff? Some people will show travel things, but they'll kind of like romanticize it rather than just speak the truth about it. Do we view life as a joke shrouded by truth or truth shrouded by a joke? Um, I would say truth shrouded by a joke. There is some truth in this world. There is some honesty. There is something pure and genuine, but we're surrounded by the system. The system is the majority. The system overpowers truth. Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't that way, but yeah. It's easy to get burnt out in today's world. Life is all about having balance. Yeah. The only reason life's a joke is because people tend to unknowingly make stupid and insane choices. What's worse, NPCs or trolls? um, well, technically, trolls are, at least the trolls on my channel, they're also NPCs in a way, but um, I would say trolls um, because NPCs a lot of the times they're not very aware of what they're doing. You know, you can't really blame them completely. Uh, but sometimes they're the ones kind of gatekeeping this whole hustle culture thing, and it's kind of messed up. And you know, that's why the system is the way it is. It's because of these NPCs. They're just keeping the machine running. And if we think hypothetically, we could all like, you know, be real and be honest about the current state of the world, the job market, the wars, and everything, we could actually fix this world. But you know, we're not honest with ourselves, and the first step to change is to be honest with ourselves, to actually say how we feel. You know, and this is a whole other topic as well with mental health and all that stuff. So, yeah, you can't step outside without being bombarded to buy this and that. The system enforces the idea you gotta give your blood and sweat and tears to massive corporations that can't just replace you anytime. That can just replace you. Yeah, exactly. Your room looks very nice. Thank you. Hustling is an accident that people keep running into the ground due to being told by the system how to feel. Yeah. How do you view society pushing hyper individualism so much? Yeah, I think that's what's like making everything worse because you know we're so focused on ourselves, we don't care about other people, and you can even see the way like you can be in the city and you walk, everybody is just focused on their own lives and their own thing, and it's the same thing if you're in the traffic. You know, everybody is going somewhere to make money there, make money this, to buy this, consume there, shopping here. There's no sense of community. There's just sense of, you know, everybody just, you know, it's just like, for example, like, oh, somebody can like rave about like, oh, I just opened up a business, I can open that, and oh, good job, milestones, milestones, milestones. And that's the thing, that's what individualism is all about too, milestones. Like, how many milestones can you achieve so that you can impress all the other people achieving those milestones, so you can be part of the club with them. Hey, have you been getting used to going live lately? Have you been? I mean, I go live about once a week, so yeah. I'm so happy I'll never install it again unless I decide to, but won't spend time on it. Wait, am I weird for not spending time with my phone? Like, I don't care much about my phone at all except my computer. Have you ever played Fortnite? No, I never played. I love the lime green bottle. Thanks. It was a gift from a family member. Mental health in America is at an all-time low. Way too many people struggling. Yeah. And then we struggle, but we most of the time we can't express it because if we express it, then we disrupt the autopilot life. Because you know, the more you express it, the more it's gonna be hard for you to keep going with the routine, going to work and all that stuff. And this is what the system does. It's sad. Do you prefer Mountain Dew or Gatorade? Uh, I think I'm gonna go with Gatorade. And in which color Gatorade? I'm gonna go with the orange one. Do you have an air purifier in your room? Can you hear like a wind noise? No. I mean, my PC is on, so I think that's what you're hearing. Mental health is bad over here too, Austin. Too many people are judged for just expressing themselves and how they feel. It's heartbreaking. Yeah. What's your P? What's your PC? Uh, my PC is a custom made one. I got it from someone on Facebook Marketplace a couple years ago. When I was still working a regular job and I was looking to buy a PC. But yeah, this person this person on Facebook Marketplace, he would like build PCs and just sell them at a much lower price than if you were to buy it with a brand like HP or whatever the crap. So, um, but yeah. With the way life is going in this era, do you think the world will, how do you think the world will be in 2040? Dumb question. It's not a dumb question. Uh, Honestly, it's kind of scary the the way the world is going. Um, I think it's just gonna get worse and worse from here, right? Um, that's why I cannot see myself building a life here in any Western country. I can't see myself being 50 years old still being in Canada. No, I don't. I really don't. And it doesn't mean that things are going to shit in other not things are not going to shit in other places too, but I think it's just worse here in Western countries, right? Have you thought about writing and producing your own songs? Um, well, a couple years ago, many years ago, I experimented with songwriting, and I haven't really done much producing in a sense, but I have done songwriting because I play guitar, I can play piano, but yeah, I don't know if my songs are that good. I mean, I have a few songs that I like but I don't know. I don't know if I would ever publish them though. You know, I feel like I'm more like skilled when it comes to like photography and videos and films and yeah, mostly when it related to something related to a camera. I think that's would you live in Vietnam given the choice? Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of working towards wanting to live in a country in Southeast Asia because of the low cost of living, and not just the low cost of living, but a different lifestyle, a lifestyle where it's not about careers or status. It's about just living. You know, and the community. It's there's something more communal about it rather than here in Western countries. It's all about individualism. Everybody's in their own lane, in their own life, and you know exactly. Everyone is too wrapped up in their own life to care, or too busy. Nobody has time to research or listen. They just don't care enough, especially about the things they should. Do you like bim bim bop? It tastes so good. Yeah, I do like the bim bim bop. It's a very delicious dish. Haven't had it in a while though. My boss at my outdoor job is an independent music producer with his own YouTube channel. He's also an environmentalist, so he's really passionate. That's pretty cool. Facts, life outrage. Southeast Asia is probably the best place you can go or be. Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to ask you guys a question. Would you guys consider like moving to a country with a low cost of living? Have you ever been to Thailand? No. I definitely want to explore more of Southeast Asia though, because I've only been to Vietnam once in my life. So, yeah. Do you get hate comments on your videos? Lately, not much. I mean, I know there's one in one of my recent videos who was like this channel sucks or something. Um, Actually, I got a recent comment that was a hate comment just right now. I just saw it. Let me read it to you guys. Um, so here's the hate comment: Get off YouTube and go get a job and go to the gym. Oh man, love it. Would you feel embarrassed if you're still living with your parents at 40 years old? Um, Here's the thing: we feel embarrassed because of the system. We feel embarrassed because of society. Society says you have to move out by this age, by this age, by this age. Um, but I'm not concerned about that. I'm more concerned about I don't see myself building a life in Canada. I don't see myself building a life. I don't see myself being 40 and still being in Canada. You know, it's just kind of, I don't know. It's just not for me with the way things are now. I just everything is just about careers and status. Everybody's just looking. Everything is so soulless, you know. So I don't know. It's like everyone is in a frenzy nowadays. Yeah, you're right. Once they realize how suffocating the system is, it disrupts their routine. They go right back to it because they don't know anything else. Yeah. What's your dream car? Um, I don't really have a dream car, at least not for a while, because I know that having a car comes with all these expenses, all these insurance, driver's license payment, license plate payment, insurance payments. It's like, come on, it comes with payments for all fucking reasons, and I don't know. But my favorite car of all time has to be the Aston Martin DB5 from James Bond. Such a beautiful car. Or any Aston Martin from James Bond. I love to go to Australia or Tokyo, to be honest. I hear it's easier living, and even for a vacation, it would be amazing. Yeah. Yes, I would, because I'd be able to buy the food I'd want and sleep all day. Yeah. Laugh my ass off. Why do people say just get a job with it with any criticism you make? I think moving someplace else is a great short term plan, but long term, I don't know if it will really matter, say 50 or 100 years from now. Can't even fathom that world at all. Yeah. Would you ever consider moving to the USA? No, definitely not the USA. Like I said, I wouldn't, I don't see myself building a life in a Western country, not at all. Like, it would have to be somewhere where it's not about, careers and status. So Canada, the UK, the US, all that is just, it's not an option. And I also would not go to a place like Japan or Korea because the work culture there is quite um, terrifying too. Some people like apparently like I saw a video where it's like the work culture in Japan is like it's normalized to work 12 hours. It's like, what the fuck is that? Some people barely get any sleep. It's honestly just sad. Have you tried painting? I have actually once. What are your thoughts on Christianity and Islam? Uh, I don't really have thoughts on religion, to be honest, though. How do you feel after 1 year of awareness of the system? Do you still reflect about new perspectives and get even more awareness and understanding of life and how society is made? Uh, yeah, I mean, I definitely have new thoughts about new things all the time, and it's not about me finding content to make YouTube videos and things, but it's just like I'm constantly thinking about something, and whenever I constantly think about something, I kind of just reflect on it deeper and deeper, and then eventually I will make a video on that topic. And yeah, there's a couple more topics coming up that I've already wrote down. Currently 10:22 in Germany. What about the northern European countries? Like if I would move there? Um, I don't know. I guess I'm leaning more towards Southeast Asia because of my Asian roots. So Yeah, and especially with European countries, Northern European, you still have to deal with winter. So I don't know if I would want to deal with winter because I'm already dealing with winter in Canada. So I don't know. Japan's population decline is irreversible, apparently. Yep, that's what I heard. When did you start seeing substantial growth on on your channel? It was definitely around like okay, I started growing a bit faster when Tragic Reality shared my first. I think it was my fourth video. He shared my fourth video on his channel, and I started growing faster because of that. But it didn't grow faster. Like it started growing a lot. In my after my I'm tired of existing video, and I uploaded that video at the beginning of April, if I remember correctly. And with that video, it just blew up. You know, I guess that thumbnail or the title, something about "I'm tired of existing," just made people click on it, and I was receiving so many comments, so many things, and it's just so yeah. Yes, the UK is so expensive. 500,000 pounds to buy a house. What a joke! Who has that? People are leaving in droves. Want to live in a tribe in the Amazon, no digital number status, live in equal society. Yeah, that's what I heard about the UK. It's going to shreds, right? If you thought work culture was obsessed with singling out workers, the internet is so obsessed with putting everybody into certain groups. It can get ridiculous. Yeah, winters can be quite rough, but at least the snow is quite pretty. I wonder if winter is worse in Northern Europe or is it worse in Canada? Because in Canada we get storms, we get in Canada it's kind of ugly, at least. I don't know how it is in Northern Europe, but house prices depend on the house itself and location. How the hell do Europeans survive those winter blues? Very curious. Do you have any timeline of when you plan to move to a different country and build your life there? Uh, well, first off, I'd love to at least try to travel first to somewhere in Southeast Asia, like Vietnam, and kind of build from there. I don't want to like jump jump multiple steps already, uh, but it's the whole moving part is just more like me hypothetically thinking, oh, where do I see myself in like 10 plus years, you know, and that's where I see myself. But for now, I love to focus more on traveling there first. That would be the first step, and see what life is like there, see if I like it there, you know, and then we can move to the next step of like moving, you know. I think we may have 4 years or less to leave where we are soon. You won't be able to travel or go move or go anywhere. Yeah, that's what terrifies me. But you know, high prices are nuts over here. The government is destroying life, and we all hate it. Yeah, I feel for you guys in the UK, man. Yeah, very much. Did you ever get bullied for speaking with an accent in Quebec school? As in, well, I never actually had an accent because uh, when I spoke French, um, you know, I kind of adapted to the Quebec accent like pretty early on. So, um, I mean, I was bullied in other ways that were not about accent. It was more like about me being Asian, people calling me Chinese, and things, and just but it was never intense bullying. It was just like little comments here and there that were kind of annoying, and you know. What's your favorite video you've uploaded? Do you think back what you say sometimes? my favorite. I think my favorite video has to be um, I think everything about work sucks is one of my favorites because in that one I was just like kind of going shit nuts. I was going nuts about work. I was like shitting on work and just describing all the absurdities about work, and I loved it. But another one I really liked was adulthood ruined my inner child or killed my inner child or whatever. I think that one is really one of my favorites because I get to talk about like nostalgia, my childhood, and also this talk about how being an adult and complying to the system kind of ruins all of that. And so yeah, because of that, it's actually one of my favorite videos too. And another one I really like was "We have to pay to live." I think that because I love that sentence, "pay to live." I just kind of like thought about it myself, and it was like it's so absurd the more you think about it. We literally came on this earth, without our consent, and we pay in order to live. And that's so fucking stupid. When you leave to travel, Outrage, we will miss you. Don't worry, because I actually do plan on making videos while I travel because, um, and it's not just about traveling, but it's just about like, you know, talking about a different way of life, talking about the different lifestyle in Vietnam or anywhere else, to give you a different perspective, show you that, there is something better out there at least than the shit that we go through in a Western country, in Canada, in the UK, or in the US, and I guess that's what the videos are going to be about. Which is better, elementary, middle, or high school? Uh, I don't know. All of those, everything about school had its pros and cons, and but I would pick. I would just pick elementary because we were children. We were outside more. We were playing games. It wasn't like people on their phones all the time. So I guess. Do you think you'll spend most of your life reflecting about the system? I think so. Yeah, yeah. I think I'm gonna be reflecting on the system for most of my life. It's it's just who I am. You know, but I don't want that to just define me because I also am somebody who's creative, who's passionate about art, who loves music, who loves filmmaking. I'm not just the guy who is talking about the system, even though, but I talk about the system because it's what's overshadowing, our true selves. It's overshadowing our passions, overshadowing our creativity, our artistic expression, and that's why I talk about the system. You know, don't forget to research 10,000 lux lamp after the stream. They imitate daylight, so they'll help you if you struggle with the little daylight in winter. Sure. I'll actually look it up right now. 10,000 lux lamp. I mean, I guess, yeah. 53 kilograms is very light. What is your height? 5'9". Will probably be in a future like Blade Runner in 30 years due to AI technology if we don't hold governments accountable. Absolutely. What's your favorite YouTuber? I don't really have a favorite YouTuber. Let me see who I watch. No, I don't really have a favorite YouTuber. I'm kind of just looking in my list here, but I mean, some of my like if we're talking about YouTubers outside of like our my niche here about life outrage, tragic reality, born to corrupt system, what I do watch is either like movie type videos, like movie reviews, movie discussions, movie reactions, or I sometimes watch cooking videos, recipe videos, or things like that. Those are mostly the type of videos I watch, or like movie trailers and movie scenes. piano covers or just music covers in general. That's what I usually watch. See you around. Can't wait to see your next upload. I have a question, but I'm scared to say. What are you scared to say? 007 Nightfire rocket launcher. Man, ever since I mentioned that Nightfire rocket launcher, people are like remembering it. Have you ever planned about making a goodbye video? Um, like goodbye as in like that I'm gonna stop making videos? No, I don't. I don't actually plan on stopping these videos. Not anytime soon. You know, I even said earlier that when I do end up traveling or taking a trip, I do still plan on making the videos and showing you guys a different perspective of life and what life is like. You know, in a place that um, that's less systemized in a sense. So that's still something that I would love to do. Outrage. What was the final straw at your printing job? They just finally made you say, I'm done? Did you suffer depression while dealing with toxic coworkers? Yes. I mean, there were so many final straws, but because there were so many moments that kind of pissed me off. But one of those moments was when uh, we were all having lunch in the cafeteria, and this wasn't close to the day that I quit. This was like 4 months before I quit, but it still triggered me. It was one of the most disgusting moments ever. So we were all having lunch, and I I'm just minding up my own business. I'm on my phone listening to music while eating, and I hear like my boss and another manager or something. They're discussing about food and the canteen, and they're talking about, and one of them is talking about Chinese food, and then my boss said, "Hey," and he says, "Hey" to me, and he says, "By the way, Chinese Tuesday is Chinese food day," and everybody in the room laughed. You know, and it just shows you that because he's the boss, everybody has to laugh. Everybody has to be positive about what he's saying, even though what he said is completely racist and stupid and fucking offensive, you know? And I remember at that moment, I started like looking for other jobs. I had an interview, but I never took, I didn't really get accepted into that job either way. But, and then um, one manager offered me to move to a different department. So that's what kind of made me stay another 4 months rather than finding something else, which kind of like made things calm down in a way. But I knew at some point I was going to quit. That's not, yeah. And there was also this moment that was, I think, one of the final straws was, and this was close to when I quit, but you know, I said it was about me wanting to take a vacation, and I wanted a holiday. I wanted a week off or something, and that I was visiting my grandmother or visiting family. And then my boss said the most stupidest shit ever. He was like, "Your grandma? I thought she'd be like dead by now or something." He said something like that. I don't know. I don't remember the exact phrasing, but he said something along those lines. And he said it as a joke, but even if it was a joke, it's still fucking stupid, you know? The system overshadowing us on just being real. We crave authenticity, but hey, look at this pink glittery Stanley Cup. Lol, we're cooked, exactly. Life used to be simpler, but in countries like Canada, we depend too much on the system. Power outage for just a few days in winter can be catastrophic in some regions. Yeah. I wish we could be free. I feel like our entire lives are running on a script. They have our whole lives planned for us before we are born, the time we were kids until we were 65. Yeah, I mean that like that's the thing. Like once you're aware that we're in a script, it's the time to reject it. Like we can't reject the system as much as possible, but we can reject as much as we can. You know, we find little ways to reject it. You know, find different ways of living. Like try to switch it up a bit. You know, society tells you have to do this, don't do it. Switch it up. Do your own thing. Do what you want to do. And the system doesn't want us to do what we want to do, but we should be striving to do what we want to do, as much as we can. I think the fear of consequences defines us mostly. Like H.P. Lovecraft implied that fear is the most rooted and primal emotion in humans. You said that we didn't choose to be born, so what would all the past generation who came before us think? They also didn't have a choice. Yeah, that's true as well. Nobody had a choice. Nobody had a choice in this, but because of societal pressure, because we wanting to build a family, because of getting married, that's why it just keeps on going. But I feel like Gen Z and millennials, we're the generation where we're kind of seeing the bullshit. We're kind of calling it out. We're kind of just seeing the cost of living. We're seeing the job market. We're seeing everything and we're putting it out. And this is when, you know, birth rates are decreasing because of this awareness. Really wish humans were nicer and not as selfish and more social. Yeah. You were smart to get away from it. We feel you, man. I've seen your vids on YouTube. Well, I hope so. It would be kind of weird if somebody just came up here for the first time without ever seeing my videos. I'm so glad I was born. Oh, sorry. Thank you for elaborating, bro. I'm so sorry you experienced that, buddy. Yeah. I'm so glad I was born in April of 1995. I would like to be older, but I'm glad I came into the world when I did really feel bad for all the kids coming into the world now and all the younger people. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, kids are still being born as we speak. So I mean, I know like an old high school friend who, actually multiple old high school friends who I'm not friends with anymore, that have kids now. Like they're my age. They're 20, around 26, 27, 20. And they have babies, things, and it's just like Jesus Christ. I enjoy studying data science in university, but still like watching your videos and streams. How old is everybody here? I'm 26, just like you. 20, 23, 31 on April 29th, 28, 22, 23. So we're mostly in our 20s. Yeah. I'm actually an uncle, and my nieces were born during the pandemic, and that was a rough spot in their development, and I'm worried about where they'll be in the future. Yeah. 80 left. 17, wow. I'm actually curious about people who are under 20 have this awareness. Like, I, what made you realize about the world what it truly was at such a young age? Because I was already aware of things like poverty and injustice and things like that, but I didn't really have awareness about jobs, the workplace, bills and things like that until I was like 24, 25. So I'm very curious, as somebody as young as 17, 16, 18, like how somebody like at that age gets this awareness. 26, 39, Gen Z stand up. 39 years on this hellhole earth. All rise, Gen Z. What are your thoughts on Gen Alpha? Um, I mean, my thoughts on Gen Alpha are not negative. It's just I'm kind of like indifferent about it. I'm not thinking much. I'm more thinking about like shit. Like they're gonna be completely screwed by the time we get to 2040 or whatever. It's just I just feel so bad about what's going to happen to them. Um, yeah. I had this awareness my whole life. I was just born with this gift. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I've had awareness my whole life too, because I had breadcrumbs of it. I remember, I remember when I was like 18, I imagined this idea that I wanted to stay away from the noise, to stay away from all the materialistic people and all that stuff, and I just wanted to be in a place that was more peaceful. That was like the early breadcrumbs of awareness, but it wasn't until I started working at a toxic job when I was 24, 25, when I really realized, the people pretending, the toxic positivity, the acting, what did you do this weekend, the whole life script, getting married, having kids. And you know when I worked at that toxic job, it just opened my eyes to so many different things so rapidly. So yes, I've definitely had this awareness my whole life, but it wasn't until I was 24, 25 that things started, like, you know crystallizing in my brain in a way. I think 2020 made everyone realize it more easily. What's your opinion on fashion industry? Uh, yeah, I think when you really have this awareness, you also start thinking about things like fashion industry, because you realize how a lot of, like, fast fashion, for example, a lot of those clothes are derived from, like, slave labor in these, like, poor countries, and they sell them for cheap in Western countries or anywhere that's, like, highly regarded, because of the fact that they're made in these from slave labor, for example. They're because it's part of the fast fashion culture, and and the worst part is that we want to have clothes that are, that are more ethical, that are not derived from, from slave labor, but those clothes also cost more money. They and it kind of makes sense why they cost more money, but at the same time, it's kind of a flaw in the system that in order to have good things, you need to have high digital numbers. So it's just, again, it's just this massive injustice. We get terrible things coming from terrible situation, terrible circumstances, and we get them for cheap, so we buy them. But in order to get something that's coming from a real place, that's more made more ethically, they cost more, and it makes sense why they cost more. But at the same time, it's not easily accessible, and that's the flaw in the fashion industry. What if a 14-year-old was self-aware? Then that person would still be in high school, and I would be curious to know what they were aware about, because when you're 14, you're just most of the things you experience is like school and grades, so you can still be aware about things. You can still be aware about, oh, why do I have to get the good grades? Why do I have to choose a career in college or university? I think, and even when I was 15, I thought about those things. So I definitely do think I had this awareness my whole life, pretty much. But it wasn't on the same level as it is now, like until I reached like 24 or 25. You can't really understand the system until you get into the system or hear multiple people like you talk about it. Few people are courageous enough to talk about their true inner feelings. Exactly. You have to get into that situation within a toxic job, or you're just hating being in a certain environment to really, get that full blown awareness. Not technically your question, but I got super black pilled at 18 at my first job. I was completely ignorant about the system until I realized how ridiculous it was. Yep. Politics made me think about the system more starting at age 16. That's also another thing that starts too, because politics it's such bullshit. It's just noise. It's just a theater. It's all a gigantic big joke. Would you ever do farming on a small scale? Not really. When's your birthday? I won't say the exact day, but my birthday is in August. people sacrifice so much for others, but those people who receive it are greedy and not grateful for anything they get. Well, guys, I think I'm gonna end the stream soon. So it's been a great stream. I actually really like this one. Tragic reality said that he doesn't want kids to watch him because kids aren't able to see the absurdity of the world. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, that's his opinion, but for me, it's more like I'm curious to know, like, what a person like who's 14 or 15 is aware about, because you can still be aware, just not about the same things as I am now. Like, for example, a 14-year-old is not going to be aware about things like taxes and bills, but they can still be aware about school and grades. So, yeah, and that'll be the last thing that I answer, last question. But yeah, thanks, loving Jengus. But yeah, this was a great stream. Happy 1 year anniversary to Life Outrage. It's been quite the journey. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And not only thanks for watching the stream, but thanks for watching me since last year, or if you discovered me throughout the year or something. Thank you for watching, and yeah, it means a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.